What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on Pure Panorama. This video I'm going to pull the HX35 out. Well, I already have pulled it out. It's right there on the garage floor, and I'm going to go over a couple of things that you can do if you have an HY35 turbo on your truck. So from 2000 to 2002 on the Cummins, the 24 valve Cummins trucks, they come with a HY35 turbo if they have an automatic transmission. So that's what my truck originally had on it from the factory as a stock turbo setup. And there's just a couple of things that you can do if you're trying to gain more boost out of that turbo. Now the HY35 is a very small turbo. It has a 9 cm exhaust housing on it, which it's pretty small compared to, say, the other stock turbo that would come on these trucks, or the older 12 valves would come on the manual 24 valves, which would be an HX35, and that comes with a 12 cm exhaust housing, slightly larger compressor wheel and compressor housing. So right out of the box, that thing is already capable of feeding more airflow and creating higher boost numbers than the HY35 is. But that's not to say that you can't pinch a little bit more airflow, a little bit more boost out of the HY35 by doing a couple of things that we are going to go over right now. Looking at the HY35 turbo here as we have it out of the truck on the garage floor, you can see what I'm talking about when I tell you that it only has a 9 cm exhaust housing. So look at how skinny that is, how narrow it is. That does not allow too much exhaust gas to flow through there and get spit out the elbow there down through the exhaust. But then the compressor housing is also quite smaller than an HX35 is, and I will pop the hood on my truck right now and show you exactly what I'm talking about. You guys know that we did the HX35 swap on my automatic 2001 24 valve not too long ago and ended up pulling it back off and rebuilding it for a second time due to a little bit of trouble we've had with it. But take a look at how much wider this, or how much deeper this exhaust housing is on the HX35. So you're looking at a 12 cm exhaust housing compared to a 9 cm exhaust housing that you just saw on the HY35. And then looking at the compressor housing, yes, I did clean this thing up and sand it to start smoothing it out and everything, because I did have some other plans for this turbo. We were just going to run it in stock form for a little bit and see how it handled 125 horsepower injectors and an edge comp tuner, but I don't know, the plans may have changed at this point. You see my Turbo Smart Wastegate actuator down there. But back on topic, you can see that this compressor housing cover here is larger than the HY35s. So that breaks it down right there and shows you that the HX35s are in fact larger, and the reason they didn't put them on these automatic trucks is because of them being a little bit larger. They do in fact create a little bit more boost pressure than the HY35 can, and they didn't want to overboost the trucks and create more power that would get sent down through the drive line and have to go through the transmission in an attempt to keep the transmission whole and not have any transmission damage occur. Now back here looking at the HY35 on the garage floor, you can see where the wastegate actuator is here. Look at how short this arm is, and I will pull out the stock wastegate from the HX35 and hold it up, and you'll see the difference in the length of this arm due to the difference in the size of the exhaust housings. Now that is quite a difference. Look at how much smaller that wastegate actuator is on the HY35 due to the exhaust housing being significantly smaller than the HX35's exhaust housing. One of the other main differences between these two turbos is that the line that runs from the compressor housing to the actual wastegate actuator on the HY35 is actually a hard line, whereas on the HX35 it is a rubber or a silicone boost line that is attached to a boost elbow. And what makes that better is that you can change that boost elbow out, whereas this does not have a boost elbow. This, if you were to remove this wastegate actuator, this is more or less like press fitted into this here. But on the HX35, you're able to remove the boost elbow here and put in adjustable boost elbows to where you can turn your boost numbers up or down and try and gain more boost out of the HX35 that way. But seeing that the HY35 does not have the option available of changing your boost elbow out, because this line is a hard line that runs straight from the compressor housing up into the wastegate actuator. The only way that you're able to gain more boost out of these turbos is to use an X hook, a J hook, or a turnbuckle that you can pick up for $1 or $2 at Home Depot or Lowe's. Now basically what an X hook, a J hook, or a turnbuckle is going to do is it will mount up here towards the front of the compressor housing, towards the front of the wastegate actuator, and then it will hook onto the actual arm back here that's on the exhaust housing where the wastegate actuator hooks up. And now when the wastegate actuator engages, this arm pushes, in turn moving this lever to open up the flap inside the exhaust housing here and let that extra exhaust gas pass through so that it doesn't spin the turbo and overboost your truck. Now if you hook up an X hook, a J hook, or a turnbuckle, what's going to happen is it's going to hold this arm back so that it won't open that, and it will allow that turbine to continuously spin with all that gas flow that's coming through from your exhaust manifold and spin your turbo more to force more air through the truck. The thing with an X hook and a J hook is I believe they are an adjustable type of deal, so you can tweak those a little bit to still allow this wastegate to function the way that it's meant to and allow it to let some of that exhaust gas go so that you can still kind of control the boost number a little bit. And that's what makes those the ideal way of gaining more boost out of your HY35, just because they are I believe adjustable, so you are able to tweak them a little bit and not just completely pinch this off so that it doesn't function at all, and then you're left with whatever the HY35 is able to produce. Now with the turnbuckle option, you would basically have a turnbuckle like this with two hooks on each end, and the one hook would hook up here to the compressor housing where the wastegate actuator attaches, and the other hook would hook over this arm back here on the exhaust housing, and it would basically hold this thing shut so that it would not allow it to open whatsoever. And all those exhaust gases coming into the exhaust housing of the HY35 Turbo would spin that turbine, which in turn would spin that compressor wheel faster, and any of the air that's being sucked through your cold air intake, your big honking air filter, and going in, that compressor wheel spinning faster due to this being shut off and closed would condense that air and force more of that condensed air at a faster rate and more airflow right down through your intercooler, up back into your intake horn, into your truck, and give you that higher boost number. Now you guys already know about the adjustable boost elbow on the HX35. I've showed that to you. I had one on my truck until last week when I discovered that the set screw was missing, so I yanked it off and I put the Edge Comp boost elbow back on the HX35, and I'm running that for right now. I don't know if I'm going to try and match up a new set screw to my Diesel Auto Power adjustable boost elbow, or if I'm just going to order a new adjustable boost elbow from somebody else and then reinstall that on there. So I'm not going to show you that in this video, but I did want to go over how to gain more boost out of your HY35 for you guys who have the automatic 24 valve trucks that have the HY35 Turbo on it and might be looking at doing some fuel mods to it, and maybe you're not able to put a bigger turbo on yet and you're looking to maybe gain some higher boost numbers with that HY35. That's what you would want to do in order to do that and try to keep your EGTs somewhat in check. Now it's not going to make a big drastic change in your EGT numbers by doing that, because at the end of the day the HY35 Turbo is still a small turbo and it's only capable of doing what it can do. So it's not designed to flow a lot of air like that and keep those EGTs down with a lot of fuel being thrown at it. So if you're planning on going with big injectors and a fuel box and stuff like that, then your best bet is to probably get an HX35 and modify it, or get a bigger single turbo installed on your truck so that the turbo can handle that extra fuel and you don't have any issues with high EGTs and stuff like that. That is going to do it for this video though. I just wanted to go over that and show you a couple of different options. Sorry I don't have an X hook or a J hook here to show you exactly how they work, but it's basically just like the turnbuckle option, and I'm pretty positive positive that they are an adjustable type of deal where you can still allow that wastegate to function a little bit and not shut it off 100% completely. If you just run a Google search for X hook or J hook, whatever, for HY35 turbo, you will get stuff that pops up, and a lot of the online websites sell them, so you'll be able to go and check them out and see exactly what I'm talking about. If I remember correctly, I want to say that they run like 50 to like 70, 80 bucks maybe, somewhere in there. So it's not really, they're not really that expensive, and honestly I think that that's the better way to go over a turnbuckle if you do have the HY35 and you want to gain a little bit more boost out of her. As always though, do what you do, hit that like button on your way out. You guys have been killing it. If you're stopping into the channel for the first time, you're new here checking it out, hit that subscribe button, join the family. We are almost at 600 subscribers here on the channel, and I never in a million years when I started this channel would have ever thought that we would get to that number and I would see the channel consistently growing, but we are on a daily basis. I'm sure we'll be at 600 maybe tomorrow even, so I am super pumped for that. I can't wait to continue growing the channel with you guys. So hit that subscribe button if you're new here, join the family, get down there in the comment section and talk with everybody here on the channel. We got awesome people here who with a lot of knowledge. That's what it's all about here on Pure Panorama. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. I just wanna